claim your Africanness. I'm telling you, when you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. And you're going to get your intelligence back. I'll guarantee you. Education. And when they take responsibility in terms of their own Africanness and their own identity, when they don't spend all of their lives trying to escape from their Africanness, when they don't believe that to be called African is a curse. You see, when they don't run from their Africanness, but they run to it and they embrace it and they become a part of it. Let's see what happens to their learning when they decide and say out loud that I'm black and I'm proud, and that I'm African and I'm proud. And if individuals, society exists outside African people, that is logically impossible. And it's a stupidity that's perpetrated on the population, on our people, and often leads to serious misunderstandings, both of ourselves and of our situation.
Lafayette, Jama and Boca. It's your boy Sean P in the place to be. Please like the show, share the show, tell a friend. We are live. It's up today. I would have been doing something else. I would have been chilling, minding my business, but somebody hit me up and was like, yo, they on your boy, not a C head, but he in the chat, you know what I'm saying? But that ain't no good. Not a C ain't on the panel. He can't defend himself and they just talking junk. So we got Tweedledee and Tweedledum popping off at their lips. And of course, once again, what comes up that I keep telling them to keep out of their mouth? What comes up? Africa. Comes up. Outside of that, DNA is fake. Eugenics created DNA. We already done dealt with this stuff. Then he talks about Rick Kittle's African ancestry, learned genetics from the Jews. This dude said he went into one particular school, found out that the school was pseudo. He left that school and did 2 years with Layla Africa. And some kind of way, he gives credence to Layla Africa over the school that he was actually going to, not knowing that Layla Africa pseudo as fuck. With all due respect. But the information that Layla Africa was kicking was not it. It was not for us. And it's unfortunate. Because I think there was good intent behind that, but I just think malice took over when it became a money grab and people's ignorance was in the way. So Primitive Tip 1 and Ab P, or whatever we want to call him, had a lot to say about Not a Coincidence. So when we get into it, you're going to peep that. I don't know if NAC was trying to go live or not, so I'm not trying to take away the shine, but I want to get into a brief build. I want to lay my case down, and then I want to move forward, because there's this thing that Ab Powell keeps saying on his shows that Black people were already here in the Americas. He just keeps saying that. He keeps saying the Negro was already here. Ladies and gentlemen, we did a whole show on Not a Coincidence's channel last night, referring to the word Negro and how loosely it was used by the Spanish, who denoted every damn body that had some color orientation or skin pigmentation that was below the equator, they labeled them all Negro, loosely. But the way that they labeled them Negro in their languages was different. For the African, they labeled the African, they would call them, they would refer to the Negro and use the word Guinea as the trigger word for actually saying, okay, from that area. And then for the Indians, who they thought was Indians, they would use the Indios word that would refer to those people as the Indios Negroes. So you had the Guinea Negroes and you had the Indios Negroes. All right. Now, how did this come about? Because of another stupid person named Ling Ling tried to use the source and misrepresent the source, and he thought that he was just going to keep reading what he wanted to read out of it and reiterate what he wanted to reiterate out of it, and no one be able to track him down. Well, lo and behold, I pulled the whole book up on a live show. And we read into that book about at least 20 pages, if not more. And you know, that just exposed the things that they don't know. So is Bap wrong for saying that Negroes was already here? Yeah, he's wrong. He's not 100% wrong. He's about 75% wrong, because he never, well, he's absolutely wrong. Fuck that. He's wrong. He never tells you, he really thinks that it's black people, ladies and gentlemen. He don't even use he doesn't use the accounts of the Spanish and how they denoted Negro to everybody. He don't use that at all. That ain't even in his repertoire. That's someone else's argument that they ain't even familiar with. Right? He just comes straight out and think that me, you, him, and all of us Negroes that are under the title African American, we the Negroes are not African. We the Negroes was indigenous to the Americas. And he uses this whole aboriginal thing to say that we were the first people to populate the planet, which is mistakenly misrepresented. So we're going to get into that. But like I said, I just need a brief little moment with you. I want to go ahead and knock something out real quick and talk about the first recorded Negro in the Americas, according to the Spanish. Now, a lot of you should be familiar with this already, because if you're familiar with, you know what? Just let me get into the bill, man. Please like the show, share the show. Please like the show, share the show. Again, please like the show, share the show, drop them fire emojis and your spears. If you ain't got the spears with the abo meat on there, drop the bow and arrows, because we hunting, you know what I'm saying, from a West African tip. And we're gonna get into all of that like we need to get into all of that, and iron this all the way smooth out. All right. So I want to talk about this Spanish explorer, because that's where we got to start. I want to talk about the Spanish explorer. And now that you see the Spanish explorer that's on the screen, right? Some of y'all should know where I'm going with this. It's real easy, light work, don't take too much time. We just gonna get it out of here. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions about anything that I present, all my information will be in the description of my videos. I don't get on a panel and I don't talk loosely. I don't make things up, and I damn sure don't hide my information. Everything that I represent and present is here, right? So again, ladies and gentlemen, I see the numbers. I see how many people are watching the show. I see how many likes we get. Can I get some likes from the people who have not commented in the chat? And those of you who have commented in the chat, can I get the thumbs up? Hit the thumbs up. If you ain't with the information, then thumb it down. You know what I'm saying? If you're rocking with where I'm going already, please drop the fire emojis, your spears, and or your bow and arrows, because we're hunting abos all year. What's up as the numbers grow? Peace to everybody that's coming in now. We haven't began the show. You're right on time. Appreciate that, Callie. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all are gonna hit that button, good brother. Some people aren't gonna hit that button. But hit the like button for me. You know what I'm saying? There's a discrepancy. There's like 9 more people that could like the show, 8 more people that could like the show that have not liked the show yet. And maybe you're not even subscribed to the channel. You're just here to see me beat up on your Aboriginal people that you subscribe to and who you agree with. So that's fine too. You can thumb down the video. Just give me some type of reaction, positive or negative. All right, we got to get in the algorithms and get busy. So Juan Ponce de Leon was a Spanish explorer. He was the first European to set foot in Florida. He also established the oldest European settlement in Puerto Rico and discovered the Gulf Stream. He is most famous for his search for the legendary Fountain of Youth and other riches. He was born in Santarvas, Spain in 1460. Ponce de Leon grew up to become a soldier and fought Muslims in Spain in the early 1490s. In 1493, Ponce de Leon sailed with Christopher Columbus on Columbus's second voyage to the Americas. He and his family settled on an island in the Caribbean named Hispaniola, Dominican Republic. He became a military commander at his post and was appointed deputy governor. In 1506, he discovered a nearby island named Baraquan, and there he found a large deposits of gold. He returned to the island in 1508 on the orders of the King of Spain to explore and colonize it. He renamed the island Puerto Rico and became the island's governor for 2 years until the king replaced him with Columbus's son. Yeah, some more interesting things real quick that I'm gonna skip and go above is right here. Hurt by King's actions, Ponce de Leon sailed again, this time north through the Bahamas, heading towards Florida. He was in search of new lands and treasures. He also heard of a mythical fountain of youth. Indians spoke of a legendary magical spring whose water was believed to make older people young again. Leon explored many areas, including the Bahamas and Bermuda, for gold in the mythical fountain, but he never found it. So in April 1513, his ships landed on where? Florida. East Coast. Near who? St. Augustine. Think about the legitimacy of what we built on yesterday and to turn right back around, and today you hear about Ponce de Leon found in Florida and he lands near St. Augustine. Right? So, real quick, real brief, right? He should have some account of who he saw when he landed on Plymouth Rock, when he sailed with Columbus in the second voyage, right? Wouldn't you think that? Now, I don't want to get into the record of Ponce de Leon's discovery of Florida. And, well, I am going to get into the discovery of Florida, but I really don't want to hold my hat on the whole Fountain of Youth, Mamma Jamma stuff, because I just think that gets into the way of the conversation. But I do want to put people up on some things before we get in the direction that we're going. Okay, so just to show you a primary, I do want to put a primary on the screen of Ponce de Leon's letter in 1521. This is his letter written in his own handwriting over here to the left, translated over here to the right. They're selling it for like $3.50 if you want to buy it. It might be a little bit more now, but it was for sale like a mug, for real. 1521 letter from Juan Ponce de Leon to Emperor Charles V. So remember that we got Charles V because you're going to see his name pop up one more time for the one time. All right. Now, who accompanied Juan? This gets interesting. Who y'all think accompanied Juan? All right, F it. We got another one over here. We got a West African over here. He died in Mexico City, Mexico. He from West Africa and died in Mexico City, Mexico. Shout out to True Story in the building. He's slanging a batch of mushrooms. It's going to be awesome, he said. Tap into that. Get your mushrooms. Get your True Story and mushrooms. Juan Garrido, a.k.a. Handsome John, was a free African conquistador who worked alongside Ponce de Leon for 13 years. This African conquistador, like Garrido, were not uncommon. Men found their way to Spanish life rather than becoming slaves. They joined Spanish conquest as soldiers, some in exchange for freedom, others for financial gain. They enjoyed the spoils of the conquest, which included land, official jobs, and pension. Real quick, you join the Spanish, bro, you can get your freedom. You rock with the Spanish, bro, you're going to get some land, you're going to get some this, you're going to get some that, and you're going to get to travel. Think about that. When we talk about Spanish Florida, as an example, when we're referring to Spanish Florida, what happened? What happened when the black people ran to Spanish Florida? They gained their freedom. In return, they got access to a whole bunch of stuff, right? This was a known thing for the Spanish. But anyway, Garrido was born on the west coast of Africa. In 1487, he moved to Lisbon, Portugal. It is unknown how, when, or why Garrido was a free man among the enslaved. One historian, Ricardo Alegria, suspects he was the son of a king. This hypothetical king would have traded with the Portuguese and set Garrido up as a commercial liaison. Other historians argue that Garrido might have been a slave who was granted his freedom. This theory comes from the coincidence that his name matched that of the Spaniards on his first voyage to the New World. 15-year-old Juan left Lisbon and traveled to Seville, Spain, and joined the convoy to Hispaniola in 1503. Pedro Garrido, who was aboard a ship in the convoy, might have been Juan's master and Christian namesake. You know, it's too many coincidences right there. Anyway, Garrido spent 6 years in Hispaniola. The Spanish government allowed conquistadors to the land, people, and treasure. This was the crown's attempt to convert the world to Catholicism. In 1508, he joined Juan Ponce de Leon on his mission to search for gold in Puerto Rico. Once there, Ponce de Leon settled and became governor on the island. Garrido stayed with him and fought alongside the Spanish against the natives who revolted in 1511. After Ponce de Leon lost his position to Diego Columbus in 1513, he took Garrido and others to look for another treasure in Treasure Island. Instead, they found Florida. Though the claim and name of the land, they were ill-equipped to fight the Florida natives, they left Florida with plans to return to conquer it. So hence the title of the show is in reference to the first Negro in the Americas, is because I'm giving credence to Juan here. Now, by 1519, Garrido was veteran conquistador. He was a member of the Hernan Cortez expedition that invaded Mexico and laid siege to the Aztec capital in Tenochtitlan. After watching and surviving the slaughter of Cortez troops in 1520, Garrido helped collect the remains of the Spanish soldiers. He also helped erect a commemorative chapel near the site of the slaughter. For his service, Garrido was given property on a dried-out lake bed outside the former Aztec capital in 1522. He became a farmer and was one of the first cultivators of harvest wheat in the Americas. Not only was he from West Africa, fought alongside the Spanish, traveled and did his thing. He was the first farmer, one of the first farmers. He was the first to cultivate harvest wheat in America. A West African, ladies and gentlemen. Get your game face on now to see we finna go to war. Get ready. Get your game face on. Get your baby girl, feed her, get a diaper change, give her a bath. Whatever you got to do, kiss the old lady, tell her you got to go, you got to put your war garment on. We're going to war. Garrido returned to Florida with Ponce de Leon in 1521. They arrived with settlers, livestock, supplies, and weapons to control the natives. Before they were able to get settled, Native Americans once again ran the Spanish off. Ponce de Leon took an arrow and rushed to Cuba for medical attention. He died a month later in Havana. By the end of his life, Garrido had served the Spanish for over 30 years. He went on his final expedition to Cortez in 1533. According to legal documents, the man died in Mexico City, Mexico, sometime between 1547 and 1515. So I wanted to kind of give a little credence. Now, I mentioned Juan earlier and brought up a little bit about Juan, but here's another side of that letter, right? And I like to give people the primaries. So excuse me. You have access to that in the actual chat. I told you earlier that I want to get into a little bit about Juan's whole, Ponce de Leon's whole discovery of Florida, because that's key. But they start off talking about the Fountain of Youth, which led to him getting to where he needed to. So I'm gonna skip the very first part of that section, and I'm gonna go right into the source records. So the patent authorization Ponce de Leon to make the voyage sets down clearly the object sought. It was to be a search for gold and other things of material value, and if these were found, specific provisions were made for the crown share. The Indians were to be apprehended and apportioned as slaves among the explorers under the direction of the king. The mines were to be worked in the manner of those of Hispaniola, that is to say, the Indian slave labor. There is not a sentence in the whole patent that conveys the most remote impression of romance. It was a clear-cut direction to search for those things that accompanied the attention of the world at that day. And under this patent, Ponce de Leon sailed from the island of San Juan, now called Puerto Rico, in March 1513 to find the island of Bimini. The account of the voyage is contained in Herrera's Historia de los Hechos de los Castellanos, 1601, the Carta 1, Libro IX. Now, look, hold up real quick. So here's the source of where the voyage is contained. The primary sits in Historia de los Hechos de los Castellanos. Okay? The discovery pages is pages 301 to 303. And it continues to say the following. Here we go. Oh, y'all thought it was playtime. No, we're gonna get into the account. The translation is taken from Dr. L.D.'s Schizos, the tract of Ponce de Leon in 1513, published in the Bulletin of the American Geographical Society for October 1913, because the translation is carefully made, and also because it is later referred to in this account. Now that we're talking about North America, we're talking about Florida, right? We know that there's Indian natives in this particular areas. Let's see if these people are Negroes, like real Negroes, like me, you, True Storian, Sutek, Not a Coincidence, Juju, Akur, Ramon, and others. All right. Now, somebody said something about a Black Panther in this motherfucker. Uh-oh, Black Panther in this motherfucker. All right. So again, we have Ponce de Leon's record, him discovering Florida. Not really discovering Florida, but running into Florida, looking for some things that he heard from some natives. Alongside him is the West African, right? His name is Juan too, right? Garrido. He comes to Florida with him. He established it. He's one of the first people to cultivate grain, wheat, whatever the hell. In the Americas. So he's doing his thing, and he sets the first example of being the first real African in Spanish Florida, aka, or we can just say the Americas, as we would know. But truth might argue about the other guy that coming in a different direction. Anyways, so here's the account. Juan Ponce de Leon, finding himself without office through Juan Cerron and Miguel Diaz, having been restored to those of the island of San Juan and seeing himself rich, determined to do something with which to gain honor and increase estate. And as he had news that lands were found at the northward, he resolved to go explore toward that part, for which he equipped 3 vessels, well supplied with provisions, people and seamen, which for the purpose of exploring are most necessary. He sailed from the island San Juan on Thursday. In the afternoon on the 3rd day of March, setting out for the harbor of San German, he went to Aguada in order to take, oh, y'all can't see that, boys. The zoom terrible on the JSTOR. In order to take from there his course the night following the sail to sea to northwest of the quarter by north, and the vessels proceeded 8 leagues of a day's run until the sun rose. They went on sailing until Tuesday, the 8th of the said month. So let me run it back to you. They left on a Thursday, which was March 3rd, right? They sailed until a Tuesday, the 8th. They come from Puerto Rico to Florida. So they got to be in the Gulf Coast. They're not moving that fast, and they probably got lost somewhere in there because that's a long way from Puerto Rico to St. Augustine area. Now, they went on sailing until Tuesday, the 8th of the said month. They came to an anchor at the banks of Babreca. This is what is known at the time, an island that they called El Viejo, which is 22 and 1/2 degrees latitude. So y'all can look that up. 22 and 1/2 degrees latitude. Next day, they anchored in an islet of the Locoyas called Cacos. Presently, they anchored in another called La Laguna in 24 degrees. On the 11th of the same month, they reached another island called Amaguayo, and there they were stopped for repairs. They passed on an island called Menegua, which is 24.5 degrees. On the 14th, they reached Guanahani, which is 25 degrees and 40 minutes, where they prepared the one vessel for crossing the weatherward Gulf of the islands of the Lucayos. This island, Guanahana, was the first that the Admiral Don Cristobal Colon, or AKA Columbus, discovered, and where in the first voyage he went on a land and named it San Salvador. They set out from here running northwest on a Sunday to the 27th, which was the day of the festival of resurrection, which commonly they called of flowers. They saw an island and did not examine it. On Monday, the 28th, they ran 15 leagues by the same direction, and Wednesday they proceeded in the same way, and afterward, with bad weather, until the 2nd of April, running westward northwest the water, listening to 9 fathoms at 1 league from the land, which was in 30 degrees and 8 minutes. They ran along the length of the coast, seeking harbor, and at night they anchored near the land in 8 fathoms of water, and thinking that this land was an island they named La Florida. Because it had a very pretty view of many of the cool woodlands, and it was level and uniform, and because moreover they discovered it in the time of the flowery festival Pascua, Florida. Juan Ponce wished to conform in the name of the 2 facts. He went on land to take information and possession. Hold on 1 second. I gotta get Tyson up out of here. Okay. All right, now on Friday, the 8th, they made sail. They ran in the same direction. And Saturday, they sailed to the south of the quarter of the southeast. And sailing by the same rum up to the 20th of April, they discovered some of the huts of Indians. Okay, so they have an account of these Indians because They had to run into these people. I wonder if they was Negroes. Where they anchored. And the day following, all three vessels proceeding along the edge of the sea, they saw a current such that, although they had a great wind, they could not proceed forward, but backward. And it seemed that they were proceeding well. And in the end, it was known that it was in such wise the current, which was more powerful than the wind. The two vessels that found themselves nearest land anchored, but the current was so great that the cables went tight. And the third vessel, which was a brigantine, that found itself more to sea, must have not found bottom or did not know of the current, and it drew it away from land, and they lost it from sight, the day being clear and with fair weather. Here Juan went on land, called by the Indians, who presently tried to take the boat, the oars, and the arms. And in order not to break with them, it was permitted them, in order to cause irritation in the region, right? Remember, they supposed to be there for something else. They ain't supposed to be doing nothing else. But because they struck a seaman in the head with a staff from which he remained unconscious, it was necessary for them to fight. So they came to blows. Who with their arrows are armed shafts, the points of sharpened bones and fish spines, hit two Spaniards, and the Indians received little hurt. And the night separating them, Juan Ponce regathered the Spaniards with hard work. He set out from there to a stream where they took water and firewood and stayed awaiting in the brigantine. 60 Indians repaired there to hinder it. One of them was taken for a pilot, and so that he might learn the language, he put on the stream the name La Cruz, and he left by it one, i.e., a cross hewn from stone, with an inscription, and they did not finish taking water because of being brackish. On Sunday, the 8th of May, they doubled the Cape of La Florida, which they named Cabo de Corrientes because of the water ran so much that it had more force than the wind. Running down his account. And it did not permit the vessels to go forward. Although they put on sails, they anchored behind the cape close to a village called Abibio. All were not really like, I'm mispronouncing it, but so what? All this coast from Punta de Arrecifes, point of reefy islands, as far as the Cabo de Corrientes extends north and south of the quarter by southeast and is quite clear in depth of 6 fathoms. And the cape is 28 degrees and 15 minutes. They sailed on until they found 2 islands on the south in 27 degrees. To one that had a league of extent, they put the name Santa Marta. They reached the water within. On Friday the 13th of May, they made sail running along the coast of Sandbank and reef of an island as far as the vicinity of an island that they named Pilo, which is in 26½ degrees. And between the shoal and the reef of the island and the mainland extends the open sea in the forms of Biscayne Bay. On Sunday, the day of the festival of the Holy Spirit, the 15th of May, they ran along the coast of rocky islets, 10 leagues as far as 2 white rocket islets. And to all this line of islands and rock islets, they put as a name of Los Martires, because seen from a distance, the rocks as they raised to view appeared like men that were suffering. The article continues. Ponce de Leon continued to cruise among the islands and reefs of the lower Florida Peninsula. He sailed some distance up the west coast and finally backtracking again, reaching the Bahama Islands, where he dispatched one of his ships to continue the search for Bernini, himself returning to Puerto Rico in October 1513. In due time, the other vessels reached Puerto Rico after having discovered a well-wooded and watered island, probably Andros Islands. But the riches sought were not there, nor the spring that restores old men to youth. The only reference to the Indian tradition in the whole narrative was the connection with the vessel's supplementary voyage, and it has earmarks of an afterthought. So there's a review of the voyage. And I'm going to save this, right? Because I don't want to bore you to death with a lot of reading. I know your comprehension is low. But ladies and gentlemen, we are getting, the currents was messing them up, Juju. But we're getting where we need to get. All right, so real quick, shot one. We done told you already where the Indians came from. The Paleo Indians are direct descendants of people from Southeast Asia and the islands. They come across the Beringer in multiple migrations. Evidence of boat, of their little canoes coming on down when they're low tide during the ice age when the stuff was held up. And then in another, they come through the Beringer chasing game. They have genetic evidence of that. Them coming from where they're coming from and chasing the game into the Americas. Why are we going crazy? Stick to the subject. We talking about Ponce de Leon and Juan, who would be the first motherfucker in Florida. Get lost. That's how the elbows get you. All right, so to double down on what has been said, there's some teaching documents that you actually can read that I actually provide here. This is the general discussion of primary sources used in the project. If you don't know what this project is, it's American Historical Association, right? In this, they talk about what we all are talking about. Note for clarification, I am using the word Mexicas to refer to the people who controlled Tenochtitlan when the Spaniards arrived in 1519. Let me zoom in. Right? So the indigenous population, usually but wrongly referred to as the Aztecs, the Mexicas, had conquered much of what is now modern day Mexico, and many of those conquered people spoke their language, Nahuatl. So that not all Nahuatl speaking narratives were Mexicas. Others, especially in the South, what is now Central America, spoke various dialects of Mayan. Now I know y'all like, hold on, you were just talking about Buddy. Why are you talking about this? Well, I want to bring this to your attention because this is what we know according to primary evidence. But you remember earlier when I told you about Charles V, the king, well, he shows up in this interpretation here. And that's why I'm bringing this up. There are only a handful of primary sources available on the conquest of Mexico, and all of them are tainted, ladies and gentlemen, in at least some ways. Many historians would accept Don Hernan Cortes' letters to King Charles V as a genuine primary sources, since they were written by the Spanish conqueror in his native language at the time he was battling the Mexicas. But during much of the conquest, Cortes's letters could be interpreted as an attempt to justify his deliberate failure to obey Diego Velázquez de Celar, the Spanish governor of Cuba, the sponsor of his expedition. Moreover, the first and fifth letters were lost until a French scholar found them in Vienna, 16th century Spain, was part of the Habsburg Empire in the 18th century. The published first letters was in fact not Cortes's original letter, but one revised by a committee with the deliberate intention of positively influencing Charles V. The Spanish conquistadors Bernal Diaz del Castillo wrote his versions of what he had witnessed during the conquest, the true history of the conquest of New Spain decades after the Spanish victory in 1521. His book appears in Spain in 1576 after Fray Bartholomew de las Casas has published a brief account of the destruction of the Indies, his outspoken critique of the Spanish policies in North America. He was also reacting against an account published by Cortes' secretary, Francisco Lopez de Gomora, who published an account that seemed to give Cortes all the credit of the conquest. Diaz del Castillo's account is thus at least partially an attempt to describe the conquest of a heroic battle fought by courageous soldiers against fierce warriors. Although 1574 manuscripts was published in 1632, long after its appearance in Spain, Diaz del Castillo continued to revise his manuscripts in Americas up until the time he died in 1584. The 1584 manuscripts was not published until 1904, so most of the copyright copies of the book are based on the early 1576 version. What I am trying to tell you here is there is information out there that can substantiate what these people look like. Even in these constant accounts, right? We can do this multiple ways. When we know that we're dealing with tainted information, we can go to genetics. The biological makeup of a human being is not going to deny us rightfully who these people were that inhabited the Americas. So why would we deny that? I just wanted to add that in there real quick. Now, I want to give a description in 1524 of De las Casas. Well, I want to show you real quick, and let me see if I can actually make this if I can make this big. If I can, let me see. I don't think I can, but this is Brevísima Relación de la Destrucción de la Indias. Y'all know what they're saying? This is a translation down here of Bartholomew de las Casas' brief account of the devastation of the Indies in 1542. It says the Indies were discovered in the year 1492. In the following year, a great many Spaniards went there with the intention of selling the land. Thus, 49 years have passed since the first settlers penetrated the land, the first sole claim being the large and most happy islands of it called Hispaniola, which is 600 leagues in circumference. Around it in all directions are many other islands, some very big, others very small. All of them were, as we saw with our own eyes, densely populated with native peoples called Indians. So let me stop right here real quick. And let's see if we see that Indios word show up right here. Natural populace, Gentes, Indios, de las que puedo, se tierra, Pablo, en el mundo. Right here. Go to Indians. Indios. Right? So, this large island was perhaps the most densely populated place in the world. There must be close to 200 leagues on the land of this island and the sea coast, and it has been explored for more than 10,000 leagues in each day. More explorers so far discovered of a beehive of people. It is though God had crowded into the lands the great majority of mankind. What did he say, Sean? Here's some homework for you. Africa and the Africans in the making of the Atlantic world. I got, hold on, stop. Hold on, y'all. Let me argue with Danny real quick. Give me a sec. 1 second. Where my book at? Give me some homework. You know I got the book, then. I have to find, I think it's downstairs. Where you at, John Thornton? I'll look for it in a second when I play the video. I'll pull it out when I play the video, but yeah, I got the book over there on the thing. All right, so my bad. I know some of y'all blind and can't see it. But they know what these people look like. Okay? We're not confused about what they look like, but other people are. So I'm bringing this to your attention because I have supportive evidence to tell you that they're giving their accounts of who these people are and naming Indians. And this bottom piece right here is the translation of the primary from the top. So no matter what anyone says, ladies and gentlemen, we have the 11-page document of Bartholomew de las Casas' 1542 account of the Spanish conquest of native peoples of the Americas. He's telling you in his account what they did to the native people. Right here, how it went down. Nothing to hide. We got it. Yep, yeah, I got that. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to kind of separate some stuff. I'm going backwards in my sources, but I really want to kind of rush through the next few sources. But they're all in the description, and I prefer everybody to read them. So, African explorers of Spanish America. The first Africans from Spain were known as the Ladinos. We all know this, or were Hispanicized Africans and were soldiers, servants, settlers, and slaves. They began to arrive in the Americas as early as the 15th century, many as auxiliaries to Spanish and Portuguese explorers. Let me stop real quick. These are Africans, ladies and gentlemen, that are coming into the Americas, ladies and gentlemen, and they ain't seeing people that's looking like them. There's, like I said, there's distinctions that are made over and over, right? We all know that the first people was not the whole 1619 Jamestown stuff. We know the Spanish was bringing people over here. We don't need to go through all of that. And we know that they were Africans. And we know that the Indians are not these so-called Negroes that people are talking about. I leave in the source description Job Hortop and the British into the slave trade in 1567. I'll leave that account in here in the description of the videos. I'm not going to put it on the screen, but it's a lengthy account, and it is sourced from the Traveliers of an Englishman, containing his sun-dried commodities endured by a space of, I can put it on the screen, years of absence. This is the source book right here, which I was referring to. And this is, there you go, about the British in 1567, how they got 500 Africans from Sierra Leone and set across the ocean. But the Spanish fleet captured them in Mexico port and destroyed many of his ships. Although he escaped, hundreds of his men were left in the Bay of Mexico. Only 3 eventually returned to England. One of these was a 17-year-old boy named Job Hortop. Hortop wrote his narrative 23 years in Spanish captivity. So this is how we get a primary account of how dirty this game was between the British, the Spanish, the Portuguese, etc., and how West Africans was all up in the involvement of these mamma jammas. So real quick, I want to throw this on the screen for y'all who think it's a game. So in 1415, the Chronicle of the Discovery and the Conquest of Guinea, right? Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Portuguese Chronicle, Gomes Inês de Azora compiled accounts of the earliest voyages along the West African coast and the capture of Africans by Europeans. So, to Aboriginal power, the gentleman who said that Africa was full of white people and black people went over there to kidnap these white people and bring them to the Americas. How in the hell? Who was Europeans? Are you calling the Europeans black now? I mean, I heard the argument by many people come over here and regurgitate saying that you call people in Europe blacks. How, Sway? How could you? How? Have you not seen the weather up there? Huh? And the people who've been there forever and ever? What are we talking about? So, you know, I added this in the description so that people can have a fair count of what this chronicler wrote, and you can get it in your own. He says here, how Dinas Diaz went to the land of Negroes and of the captives that he took. As the caravel was voyaging along that sea, those on land, Africans, saw it and marveled at such a sight. We all know this account. If you've read the book Slave Trade by Hugh Thomas, it's in there. This account is in there. So we don't have to be enamored by this, but I provided it to you because it wouldn't be right. So I have to make sure that I am positioning all these sources to you, but I do want to share some real good stuff with y'all real quick. So let's do this. Let's do this in reverse. Let's talk about the Mexican Aztec. I can't say the second name, so I'm going to say Tlaxcala accounts of the Spanish conquest. So are you going to tell me that a Mexican anthropologist is writing the accounts of the Spanish conquering the native people? Are you telling me, Sean, that you have an account of the Mexicans, these Aztecs, speaking for themselves on what transpired in their history? Is that what you're saying? Come on, man. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Look at the screen. What are we talking about? We don't have to make nothing up. I sound far away from my laptop because Danny got me over here looking for my fucking book. So what are we talking about when we have evidence like this? When we have people writing from their own perspectives about what went down? What y'all thinking about? Man, bring my book up here. Appreciate it. So what are we talking about, ladies and gentlemen? What happens when we allow the people to talk about their own accounts in history? Right. Damn. Great point. So I'm gonna mess up some of these names. No, I'm not even gonna read this for y'all. I'm just letting y'all know that this shit exists. This exists. You see it on the screen. Miguel Leon Portilla, a Mexican anthropologist, compiled native accounts of the Spanish conquest of Mexico, publishing them in Vision de los Vencidos, Visions of the Vanquished, 1959, to present a chronological account from the perspective of Indians of Mexico, including the Mexica Aztec and the Tlaxcala. What are we talking about? We got them saying this shit in their own words, ladies and gentlemen. I give you 11 pages. Look at this. Adapted from the Codex Florentina accounts compiled by the Benedictine priest Bernardino de Sahagún, with drawings by Indian and Mestizo artists, compiled in 1555. This is a 1585 publication. This picture right here. What are we talking about? He has appeared. He has come back. He will come here to place of this throne and a canopy. For that, this is what he promised when he departed. Man, they tell us, man, what happened? This ain't it. You think this the only account I got? Don't none of this look like Negroes. These are all Paleo-Indians, Amerindians. I can go further. I can go further. I have the Mayan account of the Spanish conquest in 1540 to 1546. Shalom, Balaam, and Shamayel. Come on, man. I don't read this shit. 2-page account here. What is this, Sean? The Shalom Balaam are sacred texts of the Yucatan Maya that record history, myth, religion, prophecies, medicines, and calendars. Each town compiled its own text. The excerpts here are from the town of Chumayel. Go play with your children. Do not play with us when it comes to this information. We know what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go further. What about the accounts of the freaking French? I done went the accounts of the Spanish, the accounts of the French, the accounts of, yeah, I'm everywhere. Yeah, Spanish, French, we got them. I might even have an English account, maybe. This is first encounters of the Ho-Chunk Nation and the French. Account of the first contact of the Ho-Chunk, the Winnebago, with explorer Jean Nicolet in Green Bay in 1634, and the later marriage of a French soldier to the daughter of the Ho-Chunk chiefs, as related in the earlier 20th century to the ethnologist Paul Randing. How the Winnebago first came in contact with French and origin of the Decoro family. We listen. So for Aboriginal power, since you believe that you Negroes been in the Americas this entire time, why do we have these accounts, bro? Why do we have these accounts? They're clearly telling you the opposite of what you've been saying the entire time. And then there's another account before I transition on. The source is William F. Gonal. The translator is The New Relations of Gaspera, The Customs and Religion of the Gasperian Indians by Christian Leclerc. This is out of Toronto, a chaplain society in 1910. This is pages 103 to 106 that I am putting on the screen right now. And look who they say. Look what they say. Your people live only upon cod, an eloquent response to European claims of cultural superiority. Yep. So we have it here. And I suggest you read this carefully. I don't want to do it on air because I want to see if you're going to read it. And then I'm going to catch you in your lies if you try to act like you these people, and you ain't. And I'm so nice, I wanted to help y'all out. So like, what can I provide the abos for them to do a better job at having better research methodology and being able to ask the right questions to get the right answers? So there's this source out there called First Encounters in the Americas. Consider what interactions between the first Spanish explorers and the indigenous peoples demonstrate about encountering the unfamiliar. So there's some reading that is involved here, right? But I don't want to give you the readings because it talks about a specific account. And Negroes is not in here nowhere. But there's connection questions. And at the bottom of this source is what's important, ladies and gentlemen. Find words that Europeans use to describe indigenous peoples of the Americas. What does those words imply about how Europeans understood the new people they encountered? What misconceptions did the Arawak seem to have about the Europeans who arrived on Christopher Columbus's ships? What misconceptions did Columbus and other Europeans have about the indigenous people they encountered? See, this is useful things for you to be able to really hone on it if your black ass was here already. Because when you go and get those descriptions of what the Indians are saying, and then what the Europeans are saying, you're going to come to the conclusion that your black ass ain't in between none of these people's descriptions of the people that's here. But you didn't want to deal with that. Oh no. So again, we growing. We got some people in the chat. I'm looking for not a coincidence. I know he's listening. I don't know if you fed your baby, I don't know if you put the women and children to bed, but I'm getting ready to get here, bro, and I'm gonna wait on you. So I'm about to unshare my screen, reshare my screen real quick, because I really need to get into this bill. And again, hit the like button, drop the fire emojis and the spears. I got tons of information that separates this entire, to help separate this entire argument to go along with other things. So there's a conversation that transpired today. And like I told y'all from the beginning, that anytime that the word Africa comes up or anything related to our existence, right, I have to say something. So what I want to do is, without interruption, I am going to play this conversation and let you hear 10 minutes or a little bit longer than 10 minutes of this stuff. Some of it's going to annoy you, yes. You're going to be annoyed. You're not going to feel right. You're going to feel, if you don't feel right, and if you're not annoyed, you know, and you enjoy that information, you're living in the lie. If it bothers you, you know that it's some bull jump.
Come up with a consistent consensus of lies that we have stored on behalf of history that's been put in books that they have given us, and we have found lies, we have found inconsistencies, we have found total pseudo information within these history books. And once we stack up so many of these lies, insufficient inconsistencies, we have to jump to the conclusion that if they're wrong about these that we're just primarily looking into, what else are they wrong about? Which gets us into other various different understandings of, like, for instance, black people being here before slave trade. Then it took a step farther back, and black people was we're saying black is so-called black, right? Y'all understand what I'm saying? Don't play the semantics, right? So when I say black, means so-called black people, Negro people was here first. It went from they was here before the slave trade to they was here first. You understand what I'm saying? And so a lot of narratives has been changed, and a lot of narratives has been speaking out about because of us challenging the old narratives. Another old narrative is that we lived in teepees. We was very primitive dress, did the primitive living.
Contrary. And who put that work out there to change that narrative?
I feel like
the narrative, like you said, that we were. I still hear people talking about we slaves, and I'm not like, people gotta say whatever they gonna say. But if I'm on a panel and I hear that shit, I'm pushing back. And even if I hear AP say something I don't agree with, I'm pushing back on it.
And now, I do the same thing for you too, and that's how we supposed to be as scholars, as researchers, as independent and true to our own information. Must be able to stand criticism. It must be able to stand a challenge, and we must be able to understand that everything is up for a scrutiny. And what a lot of communities have done is feel like their information is not for scrutiny. It's in fact. They know everything in the world. Everything that they say is a fact is because they hide behind a system that has organized and formulated a lie in which we're challenging. A lot more people is feeling comfortable going against the grain of what they call in challenging mainstream academia and science, because we're understanding that it's certain formats and systems there's components that's attached to this that is literally has been, and when I say has been, it means what is in history books now, has used scientific racism. So what people normally, and the everyday person is taught, whether you grew up in the 80s, the 90s, the 50s, the 60s, the 40s, or in the 2000s, you're getting that same template of misleading education. And we can go through various different factors that we can find in contemporary high school, college education, history, world geography, that's wrong. That's incorrect. That's totally a fallacy based off of new archaeology, based off of new anthropology, geologists coming out and studying, going to these, putting out scientific journals, reports, and surveys for us to be able to look into, to be like, aha, they was wrong again about this. And so as we accumulate all this data that says that there was wrong about certain things, we have also formulated another perspective using that same data and kind of added in our own theory. And so and what Pan Africans and a lot of scientific community does says you can't challenge our theory, right? You can't challenge our theory, right?
Let me give you an understanding real quick, AP.
Go
I'm
ahead.
looking at my transcripts right here. I got over 195 credits, and that's on a bachelor level, right? I'm not even talking about master credits, right? So when you got a clown like Not a Coincidence, right? Which in college, right? Let me say this firm and clearly. In college, in a university, right? They teach you that black people came here in 1619 and they was freed from the Emancipation Proclamation. When it comes to white people being slaves, they saying they're indentured servants. They make it all sound so clear. So what have we been able to look at with our common sense and not allow?
Yes, yes. Oh shoot. Yeah, he said that. He said it.
Yeah, they call it Easton. They call it Easton. That's where they had the con.
Hold on. I got off of it real quick. My bad. It's because my mouse.
So now where are we? We're at the meeting of 13.
Hold on, y'all. Don't worry. I know my timestamp. And I want to hear primitive one say that again.
Consistencies, we have to jump to the conclusion that if they're wrong about these, we can find in contemporary high school, college education, history.
One of the easiest workouts I had in a long time, bro. When I dusted you off, bro, and I told you I was going to dust you off.
Yeah, he got it.
I told you I was going to dust you off. You got dusted off. You found out that the one thing you guys stand on is DNA. And DNA is fake, bro. DNA is fake. African ancestry learned the same thing from these same German and Jews and these same eugenics, right? They ain't no different, you idiots. They using the same method. They ain't got no different. Oh, they got more Africans in their database. You fucking idiots, nigga. Do you not understand Africans have the same chemistry or the same physical chemistry as we got?
Africans have the same chemistry, the same physical chemistry that we got. Is there anyone in the chat that is listening to this that knows what the hell this dude primitive one is talking about? Chemistry, bro? Chemistry. That's the word that you want to use. And you said that you had X amount of college credits, and that didn't even include the master credits. You tried to tout like you got a master's in stupidity, my nigga. What are we talking about here?
Do you not understand that? So of course we're going to have the same. If we got the same genetic makeup with damn near chimpanzee or pig or anybody else around the fucking planet, what part are you niggas missing? This stupid ass nigga Lex Vortex came on my channel Sunday, and he gonna say that, oh, they only use 6 of the chromosomes, 3 from your mother and 3 from the paternal and 3 from the maternal, and then the other 40.
Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. This is classic. Yo, Danny, you in the chat. Listen to this dude, yo, because this is your next story right here. Uninterrupted, I'm about to let him talk, and you need to get your Aboriginal scientist, artificial intelligent person together, and you need to put it up. And this is him right here.
It's fake. African ancestry learned the same thing from these same German and Jews and these same eugenics, right? They ain't no different, you idiots. They using the same method. They ain't got no different. Oh, they got more Africans in their database. You fucking idiots, nigga. Do you not understand Africans have the same chemistry or the same physical chemistry as we got? Do you not understand that? So of course we're going to have the same. If we got the same genetic makeup with damn near chimpanzee or pig or anybody else around the fucking planet, what part are you niggas missing? This stupid ass nigga Lex Vortex came on my channel Sunday, and he gonna say that, oh, they only use six of the chromosomes, 3 from your mother and 3 from the paternal and 3 from the maternal, and then the other 40 chromosomes are junk DNA or DNA to where I forgot how this nigga said it, but it was some goddamn
pseudo. Because even when I asked him, if you saying that only the X and the Y come from your mother and father, where the fuck does the other chromosomes came from? He went forward to say they come from your mother and father too.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, you just heard this. You just listen. We can't make this up, right? All we got to do is just let them do the thing. And then we listen to them and what they got to say. And this is the shit that they got to say.
It's fake. African ancestry learned the same thing from these same German and Jews and these same eugenics, right? They ain't no different, you idiots. They using the same method. They ain't got no different. Oh, they got more Africans in their database. You fucking idiots, nigga. Do you not understand Africans have the same chemistry or the same physical chemistry as we got? Do you not understand that? So of course we're going to have the same. If we got the same genetic makeup with damn near chimpanzee or pig or anybody else around the fucking planet, what part are you niggas missing? This stupid ass nigga Lex Vortex came on my channel Sunday, and he gonna say that, oh, they only use six of the chromosomes, 3 from your mother and 3 from the paternal and 3 from the maternal, and then the other 40 chromosomes are junk DNA or DNA to where I forgot how this nigga said it, but it was some goddamn
pseudo. Because even when I asked him, if you saying that only the X and the Y come from your mother and father, where the fuck does the other chromosomes came from? He went forward to say they come from your mother and father too.
Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who care anything about your brain at this particular juncture, please understand this. Please understand this. Real simple. Chromosomes are structures found in the center, the nucleus of cells that carry long pieces of DNA. DNA is the material that holds genes. It is the building block of the human body. Chromosomes also contain proteins that help DNA exist in their proper form. Chromosomes come in pairs. Normally, each cell in the human body has 23 base pairs of chromosomes, 46 total chromosomes. Half of your chromosomes, 23, come from your mother. The other half of the chromosomes, 23, come from your father. Do anyone in the chat understand that you get 23 from your mother and 23 from your father, consisting of 46 in total? two of the chromosomes, X and Y chromosomes, then where the other chromosomes come from? Bro, you getting the chromosomes from your mother and father, bro. You're getting all it, bro. You're getting it from your mother and father. Females have 2 X chromosomes. Males have 1 X and 1 Y chromosome. That's why when they do your DNA test for women, they ask the women to go get their brother or father tested so that they can get more data, because all they can obtain is the mother's information from them. For men, we got the X and the Y. Finn said you get 5 chromosomes from the government at birth. Yo, what are we talking about, y'all? What are we talking about? I thought I was really sharing my screen. I'm gonna go backwards. I said I was gonna let them play for like 10 minutes, but I couldn't make it through the 10 minutes. Men got both. Women just got X. The mother gives you an X to a child. The father gives you an X or a Y. The chromosome from the father determines if the baby is born a male or a female. The remaining chromosomes are called autosomal chromosomes. They are known as chromosome pairs 1 through 22. All they got is you're on a whole live stream, bro. You can stop the live stream, ask Google a question, and see if you can find supportive evidence to clear all of this up so that there's not any misconceptions when you're spewing this rhetoric. Let me let them continue, because I only got they got about a few more minutes left. Now to see where you at, bro.
These niggas is idiots. And these niggas think they scientists.
And then we idiots. We idiots. They don't know how many chromosomes they inherit, but we idiots. You see what I'm saying? We idiots. We idiots. But all the idiots know that we get 23 chromosomes from our mother and 23 from our father. But our father can determine the sex because mother has 2 X's and only the father has an X and a Y. So when the sex is determined, right, for all you fathers out there with all these children, you got a lot of female in you, brother. A lot of female in you. Let me talk a little slick to you. You fathers out there that create women only. You know what I'm saying? I got a brother that got 4 females. So I'm talking about him too. But literally, the man called all the smart, intelligent people who would take the time out to figure out what are chromosomes and how many do we get from each parent. And what the rest of them are actually called. Now, some of y'all might not have known that they were called autosomal chromosomes. And some of y'all might only care about the most important few, right? But lo and behold, how in the hell could you fuck up that bad on a live stream and say what you just said when you don't even understand the subject matter? But yet this brother touted that he has so many credits from college. So many credits that he don't understand that you get half from your mother, half from your father. What is 23 times 2? 46? Is it not 46? Is 23 times 2 not 46? Like, what are we talking about, yo? 23 from pops, 23 from moms. Pops determine the sex. But the position mom in helps pops determine the sex. I'm gonna put it to you like that. I'm gonna let that be. I'm gonna rock out like that one time for the one time. But we're stupid. What are we talking about? So from the historical perspective, all the way through science, yo, they don't have a command for any subject matter. Yet we are the dumb ones. They go on a tangent. And not a coincidence is in the chat. Like, I don't know how he in the chat, but he in this motherfucking chat.
You niggas would not last in any collegiate class, bro. And I know.
But we won't last in a collegiate class, not knowing the fact that a lot of us have graduated or had some level of college and know how to stand there. Some of us have been in the same rooms, same panels, same platforms with scientists, top doctors in their field, especially those during the pandemic. And we have the evidence of that. But yet we can't sit on a panel? He's going off on not a coincidence.
Or the same physical chemistry as we got?
The man said the same physical chemistry. Ladies and gentlemen, do y'all know what chemistry is? Do y'all know what chemistry is? Biology. What are we talking about? When you're talking about human beings, you are talking about the biological makeup of a person, not no chemistry. We ain't going in there cooking crack. We ain't making fentanyl pills. We ain't doing none of that. That's gonna be chemistry, brother. When you go in the kitchen and turn on that pot full of boiling, with that, you got that pot with that boiling water in there, you got your baking soda right there, you got you a zip or two of some salt, and you getting ready to whip it up. You got your jar right there, you hitting it, you drop it up, you drop the A1 in the, no pun intended, but you dropping your Yola into that, you know what I'm saying? Then you dropping a certain amount of baking soda into that, and you whipping your wrist. That's chemistry. Do you know why? Because you're dealing with what? Compound. You're dealing with, there we go. There, y'all with me. Y'all with me right now. You whipping the jar. That's chemistry, brother. Or are you trying to use the word chemistry as to say, me and this sister, I met this beautiful ebony sister. Nice, beautiful lips. Nice curvy shape. Hips a little wide, round, pretty brown round, nice little D cups, you know what I'm saying? Light brown eyes, pretty complexion. She had a shea butter on, you know what I'm saying? Her hair braided and all that. You know what I mean? She smelled good. You know what I'm saying? We was vibing. Are you talking about that type of chemistry, my nigga? Huh? Is that the chemistry that you're talking about? That you're vibing with another human being and y'all have good chemistry? Y'all are gelling together like baking soda and cocaine? Right when you get them blended right, just right, and then you got your yellows up as one, and then you pull it up out the water and you hit it with the cold water and then throw the ice cubes on there. Is that what you talking about? Or is you talking about Brown Sugar, the movie? Come on, man, I'm confused. Because you damn sure are not saying that we are all the same people. And you're not talking about biology. You're not. You on a whole nother level, bro. You didn't say it. Hold on, let me not make this shit up.
Have admitted to white slaves. Now they want you to prove another point, and this is always going to be a continuous thing with someone's coming from a different ideology that's kind of leaning towards your ideology. They got to be beat into submission, and this is what we do when it comes to this information. Metaphorically, we beat them into submission.
Not a coincidence, brother. You had a bad year. You got dusted off by me, and I predicted it. I wasn't under no sweat. Like this was like a smooth and easy workout. This probably was one of the easiest workouts I had in a long time, bro. When I dusted you off, bro, and I told you I was gonna dust you off.
Yeah, he got it.
I told you I was gonna dust you off. You got dusted off. You found out that the one thing you guys stand on is DNA. And DNA is fake, bro. DNA is fake. African ancestry learned the same thing from these same German and Jews and these same eugenics, right? They ain't no different, you idiots. They using the same method. They ain't got no different. Oh, they got more Africans in their database. You fucking idiots, nigga. Do you not understand Africans have the same chemistry or the same physical chemistry as we got? Do you not understand that? So of course we're going to have the same. If we got the same genetic makeup with damn near chimpanzee or pig or anybody else around the fucking planet, what part are you niggas missing? This stupid ass nigga Lex Vortex came on my channel Sunday, and he gonna say that they only use six of the chromosomes, 3 from your mother and 3 from the paternal and 3 from the maternal, and then the other 40 chromosomes are junk DNA or DNA to where I forgot how this nigga said it, but it was some goddamn
too though, because even when I asked him, if you saying that only the X and the Y come from your mother and father, where the fuck does the other chromosomes came from? He went forward to say they come from your mother and father too.
These niggas is idiots. And these niggas think they scientists. You niggas would not last in any collegiate class, bro. And I know, look, I curse, I screw up words, but understand something. My comprehension level is on 100, nigga. In class, nigga, I was raising my hand in class. Look, man, and like I said, if I'd have put my all, I'd have definitely been a valedictorian in college. I wasn't investing that much information into that shit like that, man. Like I was investing into what I needed, but once I found out that dietitian or the dietitian degree was some pseudo shit, while I'm taking classes from Dr. Alayla Africa, a certification that has more significance than the so-called fucking diploma has, because it's teaching me information into that shit like that, man. Like I was investing into what I needed, but once I found out that dietitian or the dietitian degree was some pseudo shit, while I'm taking classes from Dr. Alayla Africa, a certification that has more significance than the so-called fucking diploma has. It's information into that shit like that, man. Like I was investing into what I needed, but once I found out that dietitian or the dietitian degree was some pseudo shit, while I'm taking classes from Dr. Alayla Africa, a certification that has more significance than the so-called fucking diploma has, because it's teaching me real science of my people. So you niggas went last in the university, bro. You went last. Now, how the fuck did I go to a university and I'm coming?
Mind you, Dr. Alayla Africa, whole science and intent was geared toward educating and empowering African people. So if you went to Layla Africa to learn how to do whatever you needed to do, whether it was pseudo or not, Layla Africa's intent was to properly come up with a whole diet and all this other bull junk for Africans. But that's who you give credence to. Let me pull up Layla Africa real quick. I don't want to hear it. Nope. I don't want to hear it. Ain't no, nah, Sean, don't do it. I don't want to hear it. I can't even find what I'm looking for. And I don't even want to break down how pseudo this Negro was. Fraud. Holistic fraud. I ain't gonna put it up. I ain't gonna do it. Even though I said it, I ain't gonna do
it. Some pseudo shit while I'm taking classes from Dr. Alayla Africa, a certification that has more significance than the so-called fucking diploma has, because it's teaching me real science of my people. So you niggas went last in the university, bro. You went last. Now, how the fuck did I go to a university and I'm coming out using their research tactics? I'm using their research methods. Research the researcher and find 3 sources. This is what I was always told to do. You niggas don't do that. You niggas can't read between the lines. You niggas, we should not be finding Negro slave owners from the time Negroes got here all the way up into the time where they claim they freed you. But we got millions of free Negroes before they even freed Negroes.
Fact.
Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have millions of freed Negroes before they freed Negroes. I showed this before. And throughout the history or whatever, what happens is, as the population begin to grow, there's a substantial amount of free people that actually exist in societies. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up for you. I'm gonna see if I can pull the document up. It's a PDF document. I've shown this before on Not a Coincidence's channel. Give me a second, because I gotta remember I don't feel like going back looking. But it's a PDF. And in this PDF, it had the number of free people. It had the number of enslaved people. And it had the number of white people. And population. It was a Virginia source. Census. I think it was a Census PDF. Hold on 1 second. No, it wasn't this. I'm gonna get to it. But I know people seen me pull it up before, and I gave it to Big Up Virginia. Was it the growth in nah, I wouldn't that. Anyway, I'm gonna play the video and I'm gonna find it. Let me back a little bit.
Because it's teaching me real science of my people. So you niggas went last in the university, bro. You went last. Now, how the fuck did I go to a university and I'm coming out using their research tactics? I'm using their research methods. Research the researcher and find 3 sources. This is what I was always told to do. You niggas don't do that. You niggas can't read between the lines. You niggas, we should not be finding Negro slave owners from the time Negroes got here all the way up into the time where they claim they freed you. But we got millions of free Negroes before they even freed Negroes.
Fact. That's the key.
Come on, bro. Like, are you niggas stupid? And then you start saying, well, wait a minute, man. If white people were so treacherous as
Hold on. Let's get into the other angle. You got free Negroes before.
Hold on. Let's stay right here, my nigga. Let's stay right here where y'all was talking, y'all was popping y'all shit. Let's stay right here where y'all popping y'all shit. Let's stay right here. This is the free African American population in the U.S. from 1790 to 1860. Ladies and gentlemen, by the time black people get free, there's less than a 500,000 free blacks. I'm going to say this one more time. If you cannot read, I'm going to make it bigger. These are all the free blacks from 1790 to 1860. He said that there was millions of free blacks before people got free. No, it wasn't. It was 476,000 people. It's on the screen. They know exactly how many free blacks was in the Americas in 1860 before everybody began to get free. Look what the source says. I don't make anything up. I don't. Southern states are states that made up the Confederate States of the America during the Civil War and included the border states, Maryland, Delaware, Kentucky, Missouri. All of the states that were admitted to into the Union later, such as California, are considered to be states in the North. For the purpose of the analysis, despite the geographic location. Here we go. In the North, there was 225,000 free black people. In the South, there were 250,000 free black people. Real quick, somebody in the chat dropped the fire emojis and the bow and arrows and the shish kebab sticks full of elbow meat. Somebody in the chat. Bar Reloaded says Sean should just go to older shows to show these people shit. I literally read the show. He showed this. Absolutely, you did. You was on the panel and you read everything that we showed. And I was just pulling it up and pulling it up and pulling it up and showing everybody that we have this documentation of how many free blacks there was actually in the Americas. Now, let's be smart here. Okay? You would have to add all of these totals up that come before 1860 and add them up to this 1860 stuff. But you know that ain't how it worked. Because if you look at the evolution of the colonies and as things grow, each census, just a little bit more black people in the South began to get their freedom. There was a trend, an upward trend, right? Every year, more and more. That means we were doing things to obtain our freedom. Even if we was escaping certain places or doing whatever we needed to do, it don't even matter. By the time we get before the Civil War, we got less than 500,000 free blacks between the North and the South. Well documented. Since y'all like to to do y'all genealogy so bad. Y'all should have known this shit. Because this shit is tied to census records, my niggas. How stupid can one be? But remember, we can't sit next to or have a conversation with experts. Now, not a coincidence. Are you ready, bro? Or are you busy? I'm looking for not a coincidence, but I know Danny might want a piece of this. But let me go ahead and hit this play button.
Negroes was ever slaved or freed, right? So you got free Negroes before free Negroes supposed to exist. You then at that same time you got white people who supposed to be the rulers being enslaved. Like you don't peep the story plot.
Ladies and gentlemen, you don't have enslaved white people in the Americas. Pull up a census record where they named white people slaves. And let's be more specific. Let's go to 1860. Pull the record up. Show me who the white slaves are. You see how they just mess history all the way up?
They don't want to give you the extra clues, because if they give you the extra clues, guess who's going to get on the case, nigga? We're going to have Scooby doing Shaggy. We're going to be eating a motherfucking now, nigga, we gonna have a Jersey Mike's, nigga, a double-decker joint. You know how Scooby and them used to make them sandwiches, nigga. Nigga, we have a Jersey Mike's, nigga, or Blimpies or something, man. You know what I'm saying? And we gonna be getting it in. And Scooby gonna be like, ooh, he gonna look, it ain't supposed to be no black slaves. This nigga's a moron. They lying to us because they haven't. I could tell if they gave that to you. If they gave you movies and showing you, and then even when you got black slaves, they still will go as far as to say, "Oh, he was a slave first." Every Negro was a slave when it comes to their fucking history. But then we found all these freeborn people.
Sutek, he's so stupid.
Facts.
And they don't tell you about none of that.
He's so stupid, Sutek, that he don't know that he mean white slaves. He's trying to argue for white slaves, but he keeps saying black.
And you stupid niggas still going with the original narrative. We showing you black people here. Oh, we don't know what that did. You don't know what your DNA is, nigga.
He said, we still going with the original narrative. No. We going with the evidence.
Still will go as far as to say, oh, he was a slave first. Every Negro was a slave when it comes to their fucking history. But then we found all these freeborn people.
Facts.
And they don't tell you about none of that. And you stupid niggas still going with the original narrative. We showing you black people here. Oh, we don't know what that did. You don't know what your DNA is, nigga. You don't know what your DNA is. Because you getting that shit is dictated from Germans, who all of the eugenics was either Germans or Jews. They using the Human Genome Project. But you niggas are double down. Oh, no, they're not using that. Oh, Dr. Kittles, he learned from them. He went through the University of Chicago and University of Chicago and another prestigious which he using their methodology when it comes to medical. Do you know who created the medical industry? The
Right.
Rockefellers, you goddamn idiot, who was supporting eugenics. So all of that shit comes from them.
Real quick. Okay. AfricanAncestry.com is in the business of being black. We love black people. I'm only going to deal with the first two. AfricanAncestry.com was founded in 2003 by Dr. Rick Kittles and Dr. Gina Page. We are the first genetic ancestry tracing company that is 100% black owned. This fool said the Rockefellers created all of this shit. They created the healthcare field. That's what he said. Because he gave $100 million to colleges, hospitals, and other things. He created it. No, he did not create it. So look, I'm gonna bring it up. Most of us live in major cities, right? And in major cities, there are these things that a lot of us deal with. And what I mean by these things is that in a segregated place, you had situations like these. Now, because I am in the city and I am from Nashville, Tennessee, I would love to continue to introduce this to you, ladies and gentlemen. Here we have Millie E. Hale Hospital. It's located in Nashville, Tennessee. It serves African-American patients. It was the first hospital to serve Black patients year-round. The hospital was opened by a husband and a wife, Dr. John Henry Hale, who is fairly mentioned and loved in Tennessee State University history, and Millie E. Hale, his wife. The couple first turned their home into a hospital that would grow to the house patient size of 75 patients by 1923. This is an image of their house and its growing place. Now, today, the hospital does not exist. They have pancaked the lot where the hospital was, and they have built condominiums, ladies and gentlemen. So it's no longer where it was. I can take you to the direct location because I pass it every day, and you can see Titan Stadium for where the hospital was. And it was over there across from what is today an Audi dealership. It's in that area, where the DMV now is also located near the same area. All right. Millie E. Hale Hospital was the first hospital to serve African Americans year-round. The hospital opened in Nashville, Tennessee, 1916, and it goes on. So, if Rockefeller dished out hundreds of millions of dollars for us to get some level of protection and go through all that medical shit, for us to be better health nuts and so forth, so fucking what? We needed our own hospitals. We couldn't get proper care nowhere else. There go the address right there, y'all. 523 7th Avenue South, Nashville, Tennessee. I want to just put it on the screen of what the fuck this shit look like today. Put it on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, when I said the hospital is no longer there, the hospital is no longer there. It's no longer there. It ain't there. So let me let them continue.
We was using homeopathic methods, man. They took colloidal silver off the market because they know that this shit was curing people.
Bruh. We were not using homeopathic methods only. We were using science. We were using science. We had some home remedies, yes, but we didn't use home remedies for everything. You couldn't use a home remedy to treat a gunshot wound. We use home remedies to cure like little things, like potentially a headache, potentially a cough, but potentially the cold or something, like little things that we knew that we could create and concoct some stuff to make us feel a little bit better. Yes, he said it. Yes, he said it. He took a little silver off the market because it was curing. What was it curing, bro? Why was it ruled unsafe, bro? He don't know. He's just talking. Let me put it on the screen, man. God damn, this is sad. Colloidal silver is a mineral. Colloidal silver products were once available as OTC, over-the-counter drug products, but in '99, the FDA ruled that they aren't safe. Why? Because it can kill certain germs by destroying proteins, which is why it was previously used in wound dressing. But silver has no known function in the body and is not an essential mineral. Taking silver by mouth can cause the skin to turn a permanent bluish color. It can also cause brain function problems. Colloidal silver has been used for infections, hay fever, skin conditions, and many other conditions, but there is no good scientific evidence to support any use of it. There's also no good evidence to support using colloidal silver for COVID-19. It can be unsafe when taken by mouth, applied to skin, or inhaled. Dummy. But you're so scholarly on your tangent.
So you niggas don't know. That's why I don't even deal with you clowns. That's why, not a coincidence, man. Look, man, I don't know, man. I really don't know, bro. But as far as me coming on your channel, not come up there with you bunch of pseudo-ass niggas, man. You niggas is pseudo. You niggas believe in eugenics. You believe in the Darwin theory. You believe in all
Darwin theory, eugenics. No one that I've had a conversation with, and I've had plenty of conversations with, not a coincidence, he does not believe in eugenics at all. He doesn't. And he damn sure doesn't believe in Darwinism, which is what his cousin proposes, and not Darwin. Darwin was against it. We already cleared that up on Not a Coincidence show when you did come on the panel after saying that you wasn't coming on this panel before to do that. He's asking you to come on his panel because he knows that he can't get on Al Power's panel right now. Y'all not gonna let him on there. And you damn sure ain't gonna invite him, you got him blocked. So you sitting over there and you just saying all of these things and you don't have any evidence. That's the problem. They let you run amok. And Ab and AP, he quiet. He just letting you run amok. He really want to talk about the free black stuff. He want to go back to that way so he can fuck that up.
Cronies, and all of the people who look into their history say that that's pseudoscience. So you learn it from them, then guess who you are? You dealing with pseudoscience and pseudo-history. And you come over here and you troll and you try to get us to acquiesce to what you saying. Nah, nigga, we don't need to hear that bullshit y'all niggas be talking about. You niggas are victims. My grandfather had 1,000 acres from Florida to Georgia, you goddamn clown.
Lies.
And a lot of other people had the same.
Lies.
You niggas are only niggas come up here crying, oh, we were slaves. We were.
This is the dumbest shit ever. Because no one argues that everyone was enslaved. There was an enslaved population and there was a free black population. And even the free blacks had to maneuver in a sense to keep their status the way that it was, because they could lose their status, right? They could lose their status. They can go to jail, right? Certain little stipulations. A whole nother slave owner could just have envy in his heart and see a Negro walking around thinking that he the shit, snatch him up and enslave him. And next thing you know, he's got to go through trials and tribulations just to get his freedom back. But you still are a fucking liar. And you're not telling the truth about history. And no matter how much evidence we provide, you haven't shown one source in this entire rant. I would have been, listen, anytime I say something, if I go on a rant, I'm pulling up a source. And every point that I want to make, I'm going to get my backup. I'm going to have it. Primary. I'm not going to sit here and just run amok. But go ahead. I'm going to let you get your feelings out, right? Because you do this for a long time, and I'm not going to play all of it because I know Nada C's going, he going to want to do his own show. And he's going to want to address some of the things that you said on his own personal channel. So I'm not going to take that away from him because I know he's trying to prepare that. But I'm going to wind mine down, though.
Was brought over here. Africans sold us to white people. White people are slaves over here, my dude. See,
where is the evidence of who enslaved the white? Hold on, let me finish.
They did the trading places, the Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd movie, which they're showing you in that.
So wait, you're telling me that they were the enslaved and we were the people running this country, and we built all of these things and we enslaved them and they helped us build all of these things. So slavery in reverse. And so that also supports the narrative that the slave trade happened in reverse, which would mean that because we're the ruling people in the United States of America and we enslaved the white people, what the hell did we do with the native people that was here way before us? Did we run them off? How did we survive old world diseases if we are encountering these Europeans that we're enslaving? Why would we enslave some people who could get us sick as hell and kill us? Remember, we've never seen them before. So why are we encountering these people? What is the purpose of us going to enslave white people and then bringing them back to be slaves and help us build up the foundations of the United States of America? What we known as today. This whole entire corporation. How did we survive that? How did we know where they were? When did we begin to voyage to, as you and AP say, Africa, to enslave the Afrikaners? Show me the slave voyages from the United States to South Africa to enslave these white people, because that's the only place that they were in the 1500s. In the 1560s, the Dutch were the first people that they labeled Afrikaners. So they in South Africa, they're nowhere else. These Europeans that are in South Africa are not from Central and West Africa. There's no slave voyaging to South Africa to enslave white people and bring them back to America. Kevin Russo, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, bro? Why you want me to bring him up? Why you want me to show everybody this dude? Why you want me to show everybody this dude? I'm only doing it because you asked. Why you want me to show him? He on the screen. Why you want me to show him? He was an English statesman, politician, and soldier, widely regarded as one of the most important figures in the history of the British Isles. He came to prominence in 1639 to 1653, Wars of the Three Kingdoms, initially as a senior commander in the parliamentarian army and latterly as a politician. What you want me to do with him? He was born in Huntington. What they got to do with us? He's from England. I don't know. Kevin Russo put the name in the chat. I know he ain't trying to call this white boy a black European. I know that ain't what you trying to incorporate here, buddy. They got a whole portrait of this mofo. So what are we talking about? Why are we looking at him? Now he quiet, yo. That's fucking bullshit. These niggas are stupid. Just keep encountering stupid people.
You are the beneficiary of the trust, and they are your trustees. And you have to tell your trustees to do your bit on what you want done. But you niggas are the trustees, and you make the Europeans who ain't even Americans the beneficiaries of the American.
We ain't even Americans. The European ain't Americans. We ain't Americans. To be right and exact, motherfucker, there's no such thing as Americans. These white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, these white Anglo-Saxon Protestants created the illusion of American and being an American, because you don't know what it is to be an American. And neither do I. The Paleo Indian who is in the New World, they ain't know shit about American. Those natives, when they began to journey out and come into the New World, bro, they didn't know shit about no America. They were chasing game and opportunity. But I guess you learned this shit in chemistry class. You learned this history in chemistry class, I guess. Fucking nut job. But look, man. I wanted to build today on what I wanted to build on. And this second part was just to deal with what needed to be dealt with. But there's more to come out of this, because I feel like because they were attacking Not a Coincidence, that we got to get all of everything that they said out and address it if we need to address it to beat them down. Because this can't continue. He insulted Not a Coincidence and us because he's trying to project not only to Not a Coincidence, but anyone else who was in their right sound, mind, and body, right, who knows that they're full of shit. He's trying to project on us, and we ain't finna stand for that shit. So make sure, man, that y'all tune in to Not a Coincidence's channel. I am pretty sure that he's going to be live very soon. I've given him enough time to get things together for him to continue to pick up on the war. And we're going to continue to beat it up. But like I said, anytime that they mention Africa, it's a correction. And they need some straightening because they are not standing on business and they do not provide primary evidence. But I need everybody to go look into the accounts of the Mexica, the Aztecs accounts about the Spanish, the Chalam Balam accounts, the Mayan accounts about the Spanish, and also the Ho-Chunk nation and their account about the French, because that's in North America. That's in Wisconsin, near Lake Michigan. And that's in the 1600s. And they're telling you how they met these white people. They're not telling you that there was Negroes here, yada, yada. None of that. No. And I left all of that in the description. Every single source that you may need on the side of either side of the argument to help you out. They're never going to provide evidence to support. Sentient Being says, we the real Aztec, Bantu, Mayans, ain't no Africans here. Sentient Being is being pseudo, y'all. He just trolling. We are the Zulu Indians. We ain't African. He just trolling, y'all. He ain't got nothing better to do. Kevin Rousum is not true. You're a fucking liar. How can you say something? You know what? Before I end the show, bro, because the people in the chat and the people that will catch the replay of this particular video, where's your evidence, Kevin? Come on, man. Come on, show us how true it is, bro. Come on. Or you gonna listen to your leaders? You studied it well, bro. Hit the link. Where did you study it at? There's nothing in the history that says this shit. So there's no journals, no articles, no books, no historical documents. There's none of that says what you just claimed in the chat, Kevin. So where did you study this at? Who cares if he killed the king? The point is, what did you bring him to our attention for? Are you saying that this dude is black? I don't care about him killing the king, bro. That has nothing. Listen, bro. He has nothing to do with me or you or anything else. Who cares if he killed the king? That's white on white crime. That's their business. It ain't got nothing to do with us. It had nothing to do with us being enslaved, our ancestors being enslaved and brought to the Americas. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. His ass wasn't even in the Americas yet. So again, I am asking you, what validity, to what degree does he have anything to do with you and I, or the native people that are indigenous to the Americas? What is his relevance in this discussion, sir? You're bringing me to a European that you just said killed the king. Okay, cool. He's white. Cool. Well, then what's the purpose of him? We know, listen, we know there was white people, bro. We know that there was white people. We know that they did some shiesty shit. But that's their history. It ain't got nothing to do with us. We have our own problems, worries, and troubles. Right now, the hearts and minds of our people, right, are being confused by 4 people, and behind them 4 people is a pseudo-ass, how I want to call this dude. I want to be respectful, but disrespectfully respectful. The Ma'afa existing behind them. They are now, right, Muppets, puppets. And this dude is pulling their strings, and he's teaching them revisionist history, and they are buying every bit of it. Sentient being, why are you, bro? No, you're welcome. I just don't know in what context are you trying to introduce the source. I think that's a frustrating part, because if I knew in what context you're trying to introduce this gentleman to us, right, then I would be able to address it in a manner that would be more relevant to whatever question that you may have. They got a whole statue of this dude too in Europe. He's revered in the UK. But introducing us to him isn't justifying why we're being introduced to him. He has no relevance for us. Far as we know, he was a participant in the enslavement of our ancestors. And his grave should be pissed on too. And so you're saying that this guy was shipping white people? Okay, so now, right? Now we can get into that, because now you're claiming that Oliver Cromwell was shipping white people, but were they slaves? Were they slaves? Because what you're doing now is you're saying his name in participation of what some would call the quote unquote Irish slave trade. That's what you're arguing. But whatever happened to those Irish was nowhere on the level of what happened to us and our ancestors. Nothing. Nowhere near it. Doesn't match. Doesn't even compare. And this didn't come out until years ago, where these white ring fascists were trying to bring this bullshit up. But the Irish were indentured servants, brother. Are you aware of that? So now this links back to why you introduced him to us, because the Irish indentured servants were Irish people who became indentured servants in territories under the control of the British Empire, such as the British West Indies, Barbados, Jamaica, Leeward Islands, British North America, and Australia. But here goes your boy right here. Oliver Cromwellian conquest, right? Those transported unwillingly were not indentures. They were political prisoners, vagrants, or people who had been defined as undesirable by the English states. The penal transportation of the Irish was at the height of the 17th century during Cromwellian conquest and the settlement of Ireland in 1649-1653. During this period, Thousands of Irish people were sent to the Caribbean, Barbados, against their will. Similar practices continued as late as the Victorian period, with the Irish prisoners sent to the Imperial British penal colonies of Australia. Indentures and transportees have been conflated, though they were different. Indentures and transportees have been conflated, though they are different. So you can get into this, right? And it should conclude that if these people were slaves, then it should conclude that they were slaves. But it's not. Here you go. The Irish slave myth is a fringe pseudo-historical narrative that conflates the penal transportation and indentured servitude of Irish people during the 17th and 18th centuries with the hereditary chattel slavery experienced by the forebears of the African diaspora. We don't have to do this. I know the YouTube stream is behind a little bit, but by the time that you catch up and see this, you can completely understand, brother, that listen, just because someone take you again, they kidnapped you. So what? But they treated you real damn good because you damn sure got paid. You damn sure was compensated. You damn sure lived better than the blacks. What are we talking about, yo? The Irish slaves myth created by right-wing nuts. Like, yo, like, y'all can't even get past Wiki with this shit. And even still, brother, right? They saying what, some odd 100,000 or less was transported. Hold up. One historical source estimated that as many as 50,000 Irish people were transported to Barbados. According to Thomas Burlett, approximately 10,000 Irish were sent to the West Indies involuntarily, and approximately 40,000 came as voluntary indentured servants. Okay. So out of 50,000 people that was sent to the Caribbeans, 10,000 went against their will, involuntary, and 40,000 went voluntarily. Kevin? So your argument is 10,000 to 12.5 million against their will. The math ain't mathing. The math ain't mathing, my guy. 10,000 to 12.5 million, even actually more than that. But we're being generous because we're talking in one direction. So the math ain't mathing. So again, you know what I mean? The majority of these people were indentured servants, although there were 10,000 people who was sent against their will. You know, that's wrong. I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm not going to compare it to the millions of people who experienced one of the biggest Holocausts in human history, the biggest. So I appreciate you introducing him and all of that, and you know what I mean, sending me to go look him up and stuff, and then finally telling me what the intent and purpose was, because you know, I don't care nothing about their white on white crime. That's their business. They have to cry foul about that in their own time. But for right now, we have a huge problem with a lot of things that are being said. So again, man, listen, Not a Coincidence should be live or getting ready to be live. It is his time. He's going to be breaking down this video He probably didn't want to do this, but I am instigating this to be done immediately when he can. I hope he put the women and children to bed and he's ready to go live. When he does, make sure that you're subscribed. He's commented in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I took up about 2.5 of y'all hours. I need to go tend to my puppies and you know, and do what we need to do. So as always, we deal with evidence on this side. I appreciate everybody for tapping in and listening in. If you're new, subscribe. If you like the fact that we deal with resourced information, primary, secondary, and tertiary sources, and we display correct, proper research methodology, we might be a little ghetto in our approach, but we do the best job of doing it our way academically, and we stretch it to the limit. And I've provided you with an immense amount of evidence that would allow you to look at accounts from a different perspective. The same way that we looked at the African worldview of what happened in Liberia and Sierra Leone, with those accounts from reverse, what the actual Africans were saying about the African Americans coming to Africa, right? The story told in reverse. We got both stories, both accounts, and now we can understand both sides on what our African brothers and sisters was thinking when we were coming to those places and taking over and behaving in the manner that we did, and we can understand why they were behaving in the manner that they did and where those differences lie and how we can prevent that from happening in the future. So again, man, I'm waiting. You know, not a coincidence. Is about to be live. He got to go to the 1 hour and 20 mark of the video from today. And he got about 30 minutes of footage that he needs to get through, right? So he's probably going to have to break this up into segments and deal with the African Americans' perspective point of view of this all and clean up a lot of that bullshit. So, like, share, subscribe. Make sure y'all tap in. We appreciate everybody. Spills are flying. Pseudos are crying.